Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamiyam Dadati Swapadanti. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Patakamanam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatha Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyajakatari Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namini Gauraksena He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kalita Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haribhi Vancha Kalpatarubhasya Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So we are moving to the next chapter, 21st chapter. Kardam Muni meditating on Lord Vishnu. So we'll continue with this conversation between Manu and Kardama, Swayambhu and Kardamuni. Vidura Vacha Swayambhuvasya cha Manor Vamsha Paramasammata Katayatam Bhagavan Yatra Maitune Naitire Praja. Yes. Yes, Parameshwar Mataji, can you read this? That which is in red, we can read. There are two. Yeah.
Acha, okay, Prabhu. Okay. But Prabhu, font is very small, Prabhu. Little
okay,
bit.
This much?
It's okay, Prabhu. Okay. Vidura said the line of Swayambhuva Manu was most esteemed. O worshipful sage, I beg you, give me no, this is different. I beg you, give me an account of this race, where progeny multiplied the sexual interface.
Yes. So this is a conversation between Vidura and Maitreya Rishi. And Vidura is asking this question to Maitreya that the line of Swayambhu Manu is very esteemed, not because they produce many children, because their Prabhupada is going to write in the purport. Why? Because it is respectable. The lineage is highly respectable because devotee kings were born and they ruled the kingdom based on devotional principles. So Vishnu Chakravarti is writing here in the 21st chapter, the Lord, satisfied with Kardama's austerity and prayers, describes his future marriage. So basically Kardam Muni has been instructed by Brahma to create a progeny, and Kardam Muni approaches Lord Vishnu for a suitable match. And Lord appears in front of him, blesses him, he tells his future. You'll get married, you'll have nine daughters, I will be born from your wife soon, and once I am born, you will attain perfection and you will take Vanaprastha. Like this, basically this 21, 22, 23, 24 chapters. These things are both spoken by Lord Vishnu in this chapter about the next 3 chapters. So Prabhupada writes, what is the theme of this shloka? A regulated sex life to generate good populations worth accepting. Dharma viruddha bhuteshu kamosmi bharatashrava. Lord Krishna says that we are not against a man and woman coming together, but illicit, when it is illicit connection, that is against a Vedic principle, against religious principle. So actually Vidura was not interested in hearing the history. Mataji, can you read this? Highlighted in yellow.
Swayambhuva Manu, because in that destiny, good devotee king appeared, who produced their who protected their subjects very carefully with spiritual knowledge. By hearing the history of their activities, therefore one becomes more enlightened.
Yes. So basically, they were the kings who protected the citizens with spiritual knowledge. And by hearing their history, we become more enlightened. The important word used here is Paramasammattaha. Paramasammattaha. That means Swayambhu Manu and his sons were approved by the great authorities. That means their lineage was approved by great authorities. Sex life for creating exemplary population is acceptable to all sages and authorities of Vedic scripture. Next shloka. Priyavratuttanapado suto swayambhuvasya vai yata dharmam jugupatu saptadvipavatim mahim. Yes, Sachin Lambe, please read the translation.
The 2 great sons of Swayambhu Manu, Priyavrat and Uttanpad, ruled the world consisting of 7 islands, just according to religious principles.
Yeah, basically they ruled this Bhumandala, which consists of 7 islands, basically the Earth planet. So Prabhupada is writing, Srimad Bhagavatam is history of great rulers of different parts of the universe. Prabhupada mentioning, in this verse, names of Priyavrat and Uttanapad, sons of Swayambhu are mentioned. They rule this earth, which is divided into 7 islands. These 7 islands are still current as Asia, Europe, Africa, America, Australia, and North and South Poles. And Prabhupada is mentioning, there is no chronological history of all the Indian kings in Srimad Bhagavatam. There are so many kings, but all their list is not there. But the deeds of the most important kings such as Priyavrat, Uttanapad, Lord Ramchandra, Maharaj Yudhishthira, who have spiritually protected their citizens, because Srimad Bhagavatam is about Lord, Supreme Lord Krishna and his incarnations and his devotees. Lord and his devotees. And therefore, whoever has been the king, who has been Rajarshi, their name is recorded here. Are recorded because of their activities of such pious kings are worth hearing. When a king becomes a devotee, such a king's description purifies the heart. In comparison to Yudhishthira and Lord, especially Yudhishthira, Prabhupada writes in Teachings of Queen Kunti, Kunti Maharani's players. There was a king called as Nala and Damayanti. He was much more pious and much more very perfect king than Yudhishthira Maharaj. But then why his description is not mentioned much? Because he was not a devotee. On the other hand, Yudhishthira Maharaj, he is a devotee. Lord Ramchandra is Supreme Lord himself. Priyavrat, Uttanapad, they are devotees. And therefore the descriptions, their histories are worth purifying. As long as they are connected to Krishna, that Krishna factor purifies us. Tasya vayetu hita brahman devahuti vishruta patni prajapate yukta kardamasya tvaya nagaha. Yes, Sachit Sundari Mataji, you can read. Yes, Parvasha Mataji, you continue. I think Mataji in some other work, you continue with this. Read.
Acha, Hare Krishna. Oh, holy Brahmana, O sinless one, you have spoken of his daughter, known by the name Devahuti, as the wife of the sage Kardama, the Lord of created beings.
Yes.
Oh,
So you have spoken of his daughter. Swayambhu Manu's daughter was Devahuti, and she was the wife of Kardama Muni, who is the lord of all created beings. Because of based on Swayambhu Manu's daughter Devahuti and Kardama Muni, the lineage started. So Prabhupada mentions here. Here we are speaking of Swayambhu Manu, but in Bhagavad Gita we have here about Vaivashvata Manu. But present age, right now, what age is there? It is of uh, Vaivashvata Manu. Prabhupada is writing here. But the first, there are 14 Manus. Prabhupada is writing here. There are 14 Manus in one day of life of Brahma. In that 14 Manus, right now we are in the 7th Manu or 8th Manu, somewhere around that. The first Manu was Swayambhu Manu. So Vaivashvata Manu Bhagavad Gita is different from Swayambhu Manu. Like in a one day we have 12 hours. So there is first hour, 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock, then 1 to 2, 2 to 3. So therefore in one day there are 12 hours, in one night there are 12 hours. Similarly, in one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus. The first Manu was Swayambhu Manu. The present Manu, right now, is ruling now. He is the 7th Manu. Therefore, that thing is very made clear here. And in that Swayambhu Manu's pastime, Varaha pastime took place, where that we discussed in the 16th chapter, Varaha pastime. That is in the time period of Swayambhu Manu. Tasyam saive mahayogi yuktayan yoga lakshanai susarja katita viryam tanme shushrusave vada. Yes, Sachin bro.
How many offspring did that great yogi beget through the princess who was endowed with eightfold perfection in the yoga principle? Oh, pray tell me this, for I am eager to hear it.
Yeah. So Kardama Muni, the husband of Devuti, was so mystic perfect. He was perfected in mysticism. And not only he was a perfect mystic, Ashtanga Yogi, even his wife was also Yoga Lakshana. She also knew the principles of Ashtanga Yoga. That is what Prabhupada writes here. Yoga Lakshana means qualified with the stages of yoga such as Yama, Gada produced some sons, Viryam, Sasarjaha. So here Vidura inquired about Kardama Muni and his wife Devuti and about their children. So the shloka speaks about Kardama Muni. Before last focus about Devuti got married to Kardama. What happened? So they got married and they were perfected beings. They had perfected Ashtanga Yogi process. And they were not just Ashtanga Yogis, they were Ashtanga Yogi. Ashtanga Yoga becomes yoga when it is mixed with bhakti. They did it with bhakti. So Prabhupada writes here, Vidura inquired about Kardama Muni and his wife Devuti and about their children. It is described here that Devuti was very much advanced in performance of eightfold yoga. And all of you know there is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, then Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi. These are like 8 processes. These are 8 siddhis. So, yes, Prabhu, please read this husband and wife.
The husband and wife Kardama and Devuti were advanced in yoga practice. The husband was a Mahayogi, great mystic, and the wife was a Yoga Lakshana, or one advanced in yoga. They united and produced
They
children.
united. They united.
They united and produced the children. Formerly, after making their lives perfect, great sages and saintly persons used to beget children. Otherwise, they strictly observed the rules and regulations of celibacy.
Yes.
Brahma.
Therefore, was saying that it's not olden days, there was no celibacy. They used to practice, spiritual practice was there. Before producing children, they used to follow yoga practice. And yoga can be performed whether jnana, yoga, one has to be brahmachari, strict celibacy. After observing the rules and regulations of celibacy, they should produce powerful children. Prabhupada writes in the conclusion, brahmachari. Please read it, Prabhupada.
Brahmacharya, following the rules and regulations of celibacy, is required for perfection of self-realization and mystic power. There is no recommendation in the Vedic scripture that one can go on enjoying material sense gratification at one's whims as one likes and at the same time become a great meditator by paying a rascal some money.
Yeah. So if you want to follow Ashtanga Yoga process, one has to follow strict brahmacharya and according to Vedic scriptures. One cannot just follow Ashtanga Yoga without following brahmacharya and paying some money to the rascal. Prabhupada is telling. Ruchiryo Bhagavan Brahman Dakshova Brahmana Sutta Yata Sasarja Bhutani Labdva Bharyam Chamanavim. Yes, Parashar Mataji, please read.
O holy sage, tell me how the worshipful Ruchi and Daksha, the son of Brahma, generated children after securing as their wife the other two daughters of Swayambhuva Manu.
The Swayambhuva Manu had three daughters, Devhuti, Asuti, Prasuti. So here, Ruchi and Daksha, they got married to Asuti and Prasuti respectively. So he wants to hear about them also. These questions are being asked here in 21st chapter. And these questions which have been mentioned here, 21st chapter about Devhuti and Kardamuni, this will be answered from 21st, 22nd, 23rd till 33rd chapter, 3.21 to 3.33, Devhuti Kardama. And then 4.1 to 4. It goes on the whole fourth canto. That will be like Ruchi and Daksha Prajapati, Akuti and Prasuti. Their things will be going on. So Prabhupada is writing here, all the personalities who increase the population in the beginning of the creation are called Prajapatis. Brahma is also Prajapati. And Swayambhuva Manu is also known as Prajapati. Daksha, another son of Brahma, is also Prajapati. And Swayambhu had two daughters, Akuti and Prasuti. So Prajapati Ruchi married Akuti. And Daksha married Prasuti. And these couples and the children produced immense number of population, entire universe. So Vidura's inquiry, so Vidura wanted to know, how did they beget the population in the beginning? Maitrivacha. So these two questions are asked. And these two questions will become the answer for the whole fourth and fifth canto. Third, fourth, fifth canto. Maitrivacha. Prajashejyati Bhagavan Kardamo Brahmanodita Saraswatyam Tapastepe Sahasranam Samadasha. Yes, Sachin Bro.
The great sage Maitreya replied, commanded by Lord Brahma to beget children in the worlds. The worshipped Kardama Muni practiced penance on the bank of the river Saraswati for a period of 10,000 years.
Yeah, we only stay for maximum 60, 70, 80, maximum 100, 120. But Kardam Muni stayed for 10,000 years. It's not that his lifespan, matlab his age was 1 lakh and he practiced meditation for 10,000 years. So we stay for 100 and first 15, 20 years we have to practice our spiritual life, go to Gurukul, become Brahmachari, Gurukul, Vasananto Guruitam, and then you enter the Grahastha life. So Kardamuni did for 10,000 years means it is 10% of his lifespan. It means he should stay for long years, 1 lakh at Satyoga. Samaha. So he performed austerities on the bank of Saraswati for 10,000 years. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that Kardamuni had a long lifespan. And such long lifespan, even Valmiki Muni practiced, meditated for long, 10,000 years. So Prabhupada writes here, Ashtanga Yoga practice can be performed by person who have very, very long duration of life. Therefore, Satya Yoga meditation is mentioned. Tritaya Dhyato Vishnu. But for Kali Yoga, and not only that, first one should have a very long lifespan. Second thing, Prabhupada writing, there is no possibility of attaining the real perfection. Following the regulations, controlling the senses, practicing different sitting postures, a Ashtanga process. A long process, and perfection is not so easy. And in Satyuga, Kardamuni achieved perfection. But that process, which is meant for Satyuga, the people of Kali Yuga, they are advertising it. Can you read here, Prabhu? We do not know how people can get captivated from here.
We do not know how people can be captivated by the bogus yoga system in which it is stated that simply by meditating 15 minutes daily, one can attain the perfection of becoming one with God.
Continue. This
age Kali Yuga is the age of bluffing and quarrel. Actually, there is no possibility of attaining yoga perfection by such paltry proposals.
Yes.
The Vedic literatures for emphasis clearly states 3 minutes that
3 times.
3 times that in this age of Kaliyu nastev gatiranyata. There is no others alternative than Harer Nam, chanting the holy name of the Lord.
Yes. So basically, Prabhupada is saying there's such long lifespan. In that they achieve perfection, but not anyone and everyone can do it. But in Kali Yuga, we have only short lifespan. How can you achieve perfection by Ashtanga Yoga process? It's not possible. Therefore, one should take to holy name. Tata samadhi yuktena kriya yogena kardama samprapede harim bhaktya prapanna varadashusham. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. During that period of penance, the sage Kardama, by worship through devotional service in trance, propitiated the personality of Godhead, who is the quick bestower of all blessings upon those who flee to him for perfection,
Yeah,
protection.
during those 10,000 years, Karda Muni pleased Lord Hari by his devotional meditation, and he became pleased on him and bestowed his blessing on him. Yes. Can read this purport, the significance.
The significance of meditation is described here. Kardama Muni practiced mystic yoga, meditation for 10,000 years just to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari. Without devotion, highlighted point, no, Prabhu?
Now continue the purport. Therefore, whether one practices.
Therefore, whether one practice yoga or sculptures and
Speculates. Basically, whether one performs Ashtanga yoga or one performs Jnana yoga to know God, it has to be backed up with devotion. So now we can read Mataji highlighted. Without devotion.
okay, without devotion, nothing can be perfect. The target of perfection and realization is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yes, what Prabhupada is trying to write here is that Karda Muni practiced mystic meditation for 10,000 years, and the goal of his was to please the Lord. For 10,000 years, he practiced on Saraswati bank, and what happened was, Lord was pleased. Whether you do Ashtanga, whether you do Jnana, whether you do Karma, the purpose of doing all these yogas is to please the Lord. And 6th chapter was quoting that anybody who pleases the Lord, constantly engaged in Krishna's consciousness, is the topmost yogi. Yogina Samesham Tatgatin Antaratmanaha. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
The personality of Godhead Hari also fulfills the desires of his surrendered devotee. One has to surrender unto the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead, Hari or Krishna, in order to achieve the real success. Devotional service
Why
or
Prabhupada is writing here? Because Karna Muni has gone to Lord Vishnu to meditate on Lord Vishnu on Saraswati bank for a material desire. What is that material desire? His Brahma, Father Brahma, has ordered him to create progeny, to populate the whole earth. And therefore, Prabhupada is writing here. Also, Supreme Lord, he got darshan of the Lord. He did mystic Ashtanga yoga process, and Lord was pleased. He got darshan, but he had gone with the material desire. And what is the desire? To produce progeny. But the desire is also pure because Lord Kapila is going to appear in his lineage. So Prabhupada is writing here, the devotional service or engagement in Krishna consciousness is the direct method. Bhakti, like why you are chanting, reading, hearing, Navida Bhakti is direct process. And it is indirect process, karma, jnana, ashtanga. They're also recommended are indirect. But Prabhupada is writing Kali Yuga, which is prescribed. Yes, Mataji, please read.
Okay, in this age of Kali, the direct method, especially more feasible than the indirect, because people are short living, their intelligence is poor, and they are not poverty stricken and embraced by so many miserable disturbances. Lord Chaitanya therefore has given the greatest boon. In this age, one simply has to chant the holy name of the Lord God and attain the perfection in spiritual life.
So therefore, Gardama at 10,000 years, he pleased Lord Vishnu, but he pleased Lord Vishnu for material desire to beget children. And we don't have such long life. Therefore, that is Ashtanga, Jnana, Karma are indirect methods. But that Ashtanga method of Kardamuni was linked with devotion, therefore got perfection. The Karma, Jnana, you have to have Bhakti, then it becomes Yoga. Otherwise, it becomes only Shushka. And in Kali Yuga, we need to accept direct method because we are very short-lived. That is what Prabhupada has written in the purport till now. Prabhupada is coming to explain two things, Samprapadde Harim and Kriya Yogena. If you go back to the translation here, if you see the shloka, Tata Samadhi Yuktena Kriya Yogena Kardama Samprapadde Harim. Kriya Yogena is coming here in the second line. and some prapadya harim is also coming here. These two words Prabhupada is going to highlight. That some prapadya harim, he pleased Hari by what? Bhaktya prapanna varadasosham, by bhakti. Kriya Yogena means activities in bhakti. And he pleased Lord Vishnu by Kriya Yogena Bhakti. Kardama Muni did Kriya Yoga, devotional service, Bhakti Seva to please Lord Hari. And then he got blessings. That is going to highlight now. Yes, Mataji, please read.
Yes, the words
Some prapadde
harim means that in various ways, Kardama Muni satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Hari, by his devotional service. Devotional service is also expressed by the words Kriya Yogena. Kardama Muni not only meditated but also engaged in devotional service. To attain the perfection in yoga practice or meditation, one must act in devotional service by hearing, chanting, remembering, etc. Remembering is a meditation also. But who is to be remembered? One should remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nor only must one remember the Supreme Person. One must hear about the activities of the Lord and chant his glories. This information is in the authoritative scriptures. After engaging,
so Prabhupada is writing here that what Kardamuni achieved perfection by devotional practice. What is devotional practice? Hearing, chanting, remembering. Who is to be remembered? Supreme Lord should be remembered. Whose activity should be chanted? His Lord's activity should be chanted. And this is we are getting from Shastra. From Shastras we are understanding this. And Prabhupada is mentioning, continuing further. After engaging himself for 10,000 years in different types of devotional service, Kardama Muni attained the perfection of meditation. But we don't have that much 10,000 of years. So it is not possible in Kali, wherein it is very difficult to live for such a more than 100 years. So at the present moment, one will be successful in the rigid performance of the many yogas. And how can who will be successful by Ashtanga Yoga and Jnana Yoga? No. And perfection is attained only by those who are surrendered souls. Even if you want to achieve perfection in Ashtanga Yoga, by the way, Kardama Muni has achieved perfection. There is Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, Samadhi. That Dharana should be Lord Vishnu. And Dhyana should be done on Lord Vishnu. And one should come in communion Samadhi with Lord Vishnu. So Prabhupada is asking, where there is no mention of percent of Godhead, where there is surrender, where is the question of surrender? And where there is no meditation upon the Lord, Dharana is not Lord, where is the yoga practice? So therefore, unfortunately, nowadays, people in Kali Yoga, unfortunately, people in this age, especially persons who are of a demonic nature, demons, want to be cheated. So a question may be asked, if this Ashtanga Yoga process, meditation process is meant only for Satya Yoga, then why nowadays in foreign countries or in India also, in West also, there is so much of meditation? And for that answer Prabhupada is giving, there are some people who are like demonic nature, who are very envious of Supreme Lord, who hate the Lord. They want to be cheated. And thus the Supreme Person of Godhead sends great cheaters who mislead them in the name of yoga and render their lives useless and doomed. And Prabhupada quoting in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, such rascals of self-made authority, they don't follow any Vedic authority. They just think that I realize this, I feel like this, being puffed up by illegally collected money. They get a lot of followers. When Prabhupada went to West, many followers told them. Mishraji was there in the yoga process, who was also a Brahmana. And he told them, Prabhupada, that Swamiji, if you come here, when Prabhupada asked him, Mishraji, Arey, you are the sannyasi, you should be in saffron dress. He told, no, I'm a yogi and sannyasi, but the people of America, to make them relevant, I'm wearing this suit and boot. And you can also, if you also want to preach, you should also use pant and shirt. Otherwise, suit and boot. Otherwise, you'll not be able to connect to them. But then Prabhupada told, I have not come here to take something from them. I have come here to give them something. Many new people told Prabhupada, many so-called meditationer, teachers, gurus, Prabhupada, if you can compromise this one principle, no illicit sex, so many people will take up. But Prabhupada told, no, I've come here to give diamond. If you want diamond, you have to pay the price. What is a diamond? Pure devotional service, unalloyed pure devotional service. And therefore, the so-called rascals, their self-made authority, they collect because they compromise principles, they have a lot of followers, and they collect a lot of money, and because of the puffed up money, Janma, Ishvara, Shruti, Shibir, become puffed up. Edamana, Madatpamana. So then they start cheating them, they start plundering them. They're very proud of the money they have plundered from innocent persons who want to be cheated. The so-called meditation process is existing in this Kali Yuga because the followers, the masses, they want to be cheated. And for cheated, there are cheaters. Otherwise, that is not much relevant in the present age of Kali Yuga. Even if meditation is there, it takes 10,000 years after meditating on Lord Vishnu. What to speak of so-called meditation, silent meditation, where Lord Vishnu is not the center? How it will be perfected? Therefore, by saying Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama. Tavat prasanno Bhagavan Pushkaraksha Krite Yuge Darshayam Asatam Shatta Shabda Brahma Dadad Vapu. Yes, Sashi Sundari Mataji, you can read this translation in red.
Then in the Satyuga, lotus-eyed Supreme Personality of Godhead, being pleased, showed himself to that Kardama Muni and displayed his transcendental form, which can be understood only through the Vedas.
Yes, if you see in the translation, there is the shloka, Tavat prasanno Bhagavan. Lord was very pleased. Pushkaraksha Krite Yuge. He had a transcendental form in Satyuga, lotus-eyed, Pushkaraksha. Pushkaraksha, Pushkar is lotus, and Aksha is eyes, lotus-eyed. In Krita Yuga, lotus-eyed Supreme Son Godhead, Tavat prasanno Bhagavan. He became pleased. Darshayam asatam shatta. And he showed himself, being pleased with Kardam Muni, he showed himself to in front of Kardam Muni. And what is the nature of that Bhagavan? Shabda Brahma Dadad Vapu. That means that Lord can be only understood by Vedic literatures, or who can be revealed by one who hears Vedic literatures from their gurus in disciplic succession, or whose body is made up of Vedas. That is what Chakravarti Pad mentions. Here, if you see, Vidura, the lotus-eyed Lord, having a body made up of Vedas, that is meaning of Shabda Brahma. What it means? That means he can be only realized by Vedic literature. Chakravarti was mentioning here, worshipping the Lord until he saw him. Kardama Muni quickly saw the Lord by his mercy. He did his endeavor of 10,000 years. But like Yashoda got endeavor and mercy, Damodar was tied. Similarly, only by his mercy he could see him. When Lord becomes merciful, he can reveal himself to a devotee. The Lord is known only through scriptures. That is meaning of his body is made up of Vedas. The phrase Dadata Vapu can also mean revealing his form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Satchit Ananda, Dadata Vapu. Or nourished by the saints, garlands, and food offered by Kardama. So here it is. Dadata. Shabda Brahma Dadata Vapu. Basically, Lord can be only understood from Vedic literature by devotional service. That Lord who reveals us, the devotee who has a particular affinity for a particular deity, the Lord reveals himself in that form. It's not any form, only Vishnu form, Krishna form, Ram form, Vishnu Tattva. The devotee is attached to, may be attached to Narayana, he may be attached to Lord Ram, he may be attached to Sitala, he may be attached to Kunja Bihari, Gopinath. So whatever form one is attached to, he serves. That service, Lord accepts the service. Sadami Patram Pushpam Palam Tuyam Yome Bhaktya Prashti Tadam Bhakti Upatram. That is called as Dadada Vapuhu. He accepted his service. Yes, Mataji, please read this purport. You can read the whole purport.
Two points are very significant. The first is that Kardama Muni attained success by yoga practice in the beginning of Satyuga when people used to live for 100,000 years. Kardama Muni attained success and the Lord being pleased with him showed him his form, which is not imaginary.
Yeah, first point is Kardama Muni got darshan of the form after 10,000 years. Do you think Kardama Muni is a crazy person that after 10,000 years meditation you will see a form which is imagined? That is what Prabhupada says. It was not imagined. It was not imaginary. It was real. Prabhupada quotes here. Impersonalists recommend that one can take any form, whatever one desires, and he can meditate on it. But here it is very clearly said. The form which the Lord showed to Karda Muni by his divine grace is described in the Vedic literature. Yes, Mataji, last you can read Shabda Brahma.
Saptam Brahma, the forms of the Lord are clearly indicated in the Vedic literature. Karma did not discover any imaginary form as alleged by practice. He actually saw the eternal, blissful, and transcendental form of the Lord.
Yes. So Shabda Brahma is a form in the Vedic literature. So Karda Muni did not discover any imaginary form of Lord as so-called meditators. This promise that you can imagine any form, but he actually saw the eternal, blissful, transcendental form of the Lord. That is called as Shabda Brahma here. Satam Virajamarkabham Snigdha Nilalakavrita Vaktrabjam Virajo Ambaram Sattam Virajam Arkabham Shita Padmo Palashajam Snigdha Nilalakavrita Vaktrabjam Virajombaram. Yes, Parmeshwar Mataji, please read.
Yes, Prabhuji. Kardama Muni saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is free from material contamination, in his eternal form, effulgent like sun, wearing a garland of white lotuses and water lilies. The Lord was clad in spotless yellow silk, and his lotus face was fringed with slick dark locks of curly hair.
Yes. So what was the Lord? Karda Muni saw the Supreme Person of God. His description mentioned here. 9, 10, 11 speaks about description. So Chakravarti mentions another description of the in his translation. He gives a very elaborate description. Can you read Mata this one? Chakravarti description.
Yes, Prabhu. In the sky, Kardama Muni saw the Lord shining like
Pure sun.
a pure sun, which is white lotus
Garland.
with a white lotus.
Yes.
Lotus face surrounded by black locks of hair, wearing spotless cloth on club and white water, pleasing smile and glance with Lakshmi on the chest and the Kaustuba jewel around his neck. His feet placed on the shoulders of Garuda, joyful on having his desires fulfilled. Kardama, whose had natural love for the Lord, fell down, touching his head to the ground with folded hands. He offered prayers.
Yes. So if you can see, Karda Muni on the bank of Saraswati meditated for 10,000 years out of mercy because he approached the Ashtanga Yoga process with Hari Sammatena and Kriya Yogena. He followed hearing, reading principles in authority. Shabda Brahma Lord appeared in front of him. How is he appearing? He's was shining like the pure sun. He had a white lotus garland. His lotus face was surrounded by black lock of hairs. Lord has very thick, dark hairs. And he had a spotless cloth. He had a crown, earrings, kundala, kirita kundala, shanka chakra, gada. Instead of Padma, he was having a white water lily for pleasing his devotee. And he was having a prasanna, pleasing smile. And his glance was very, very refreshing and cooling. And he had Shiva's Chinna on his chest, Kaustuba jewel around his neck. And he was sitting on Garuda, standing. His plate was placed on shoulders of Garuda. Basically, he was in a sitting posture. And he was very joyful and having his desires fulfilled. Who was joyful? Kardam Muni became very joyful. Now imagine if in front of all of us, although we worship Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra or Radha Kunja Bihari, but even if Lord Vishnu on Garuda appears in before us, how much will be pleased? So you can understand, you can try to understand how much Karta Muni is pleased by the darshan. Even if you get this darshan, our life will get perfected. So Karta Muni is very, very pleased. His whole desires are fulfilled, seeing the Lord in front of him. Who had natural love for the Lord, he immediately fell down Dandavat, touched his head to the ground. With folded hands, he offered prayers. The description goes like this: Kirita kundalinam shankachakra gadadharam svetotpalla kridanakam manasparsha smitekshanam. Yes, Sachin bro.
Adorned with a crown and earrings, he held his characteristic conch, disc and mace in three of his hands and a white lily in the fourth. He glanced about in a happy, smiling mood whose sight captivates the hearts of all devotees.
Yeah, I think it's previously in previous shloka only it is translated by Chakravarti Path. Vinasyata charana bhojam amshadeshe garutmata drishtva ke vashtitam vaksha shriyam kaustubakandaram. Yes, Sachi Sundari Mataji.
A golden stick on his chest, the famous Kaustuba gem, suspended from his neck, he stood in the air with his lotus feet placed on the shoulders of Garuda.
Yeah, this also described by Chakravarti Path in the previous shloka only. Chakravarti Path has mentioned 9, 10, 11 together. So Prabhupada writes with purport. The descriptions in verse 9 to 11 of the Lord in his transcendental eternal form are understood to be descriptions from the authoritative Vedic version. The descriptions are certainly not the imagination of Varda Muni. The decorations of the Lord are beyond material conception, as admitted even by impersonalists like Shankaracharya, who told Narayana para avyaktat. He has nothing to do with the material creation. The varieties of the transcendental Lord, his body, his form, his dress, his instruction, his words, like Vallabhacharya also written, Adaram Maduram, Vadanam Maduram. That whole thing is speaking the same thing which Kardamuni is realizing here, are not manufactured by the material energy, but are all confirmed in the Vedic literature. That is already mentioned in the 7th verse Shabda Brahma, 8th verse Shabda Brahma. Yes, Mataji, we can read this next. What Prabhupada is trying to bring lessons from this? Prabhupada is writing here that he was for 10,000 years standing there, but he was not seeing some imagination form. Yes, Mataji, please read.
By performance of yoga, Kardama Muni actually saw the Supreme Lord as he is. There was no point in seeing an imagined form of God after practicing yoga for 10,000 years. The perfection of yoga, therefore, does not terminate in voidness or impersonalism. On the contrary, the perfection of yoga is attained when one actually sees the personality of Godhead in his eternal form.
Yeah. So basically, Prabhupada's writing here is the form. Basically, in last 3 centuries, not 2 centuries, when there was freedom fighting struggle, when all the patriots they wanted to unite India for the freedom struggle. They wanted to unite all the Hindus, Christians, Muslims, and all others, and they brought this concept of Mayavad, where they told that everything is one, it's a light, and from that comes respective deity. Yatomat tatopat. You can accept any deity and you can worship it and you get perfection. That concept. That kind of Mayavad is rooted. And therefore, Prabhupada, if you see carefully observe, because this scriptures, Prabhupada came, he was born in 1896. He grew up seeing this rebellion against the Western Britishers and the freedom fighting struggle movement. And also he had come in Bhakti in the beginning of the 19th century itself. And one hand he was able to see Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, he was seeing his father worshipping the deities. Other hand he was seeing the patriotic struggle of different movements, extremists, or different people who are trying to twist the philosophy of Vedic culture, the topmost philosophy of Bhagavad Dharma for achieving independence. And that is the reason if you see his Ishopanishad, Bhagavad Gita commentaries, translations, if you read Prabhupada books, he will again and again bring to this point. This form is not imagined. This is actual form. Why? Because this Vedic literature has been abused since whether it was to send Buddhism out of the India by Shankaracharya, or whether it was for sending the Britishers out of India by the freedom fighters. This whole Vedas are utilized for that. Therefore, Prabhupada is so again and again when it comes to form of the Lord, he immediately takes that thing and tells that Kardama Muni did not spend 10,000 years for imagining the form. Right now, also, very few Vaishnava institutions are there which really propitiate or profess the form of the Lord, worship of the Lord, Murti, as a deity. But 99% of the people of the Kali Yuga, the type of meditation, the type of worship, the type of spirituality they want to perform is devoid of the form of the Lord. Either it is some demigods or it is some imagination. But that is just coming like Shabda Brahma worship is very rare. Therefore, Prabhupada is again bringing here the perfection, the performance of Yoga Muni. Karda Muni actually saw Supreme Lord as he is by perfection of yoga. And there was no point in seeing an imagined form. So this is perfection of yoga. And it was not wideness, it was not impersonalism. Therefore, this kind of impersonalism and wideness was coming in the Prabhupada's movement also, ISKCON also. When Prabhupada gave sannyas initially to his many of the disciples in 1971-72, many of his sannyas disciples, they wanted to usurp Prabhupada's place. They wanted to take Prabhupada's position. Prabhupada was a founder-acharya, but in many of the books, this comes in Lilamrit in the 4th volume. Many of his disciples, many of sannyas disciples, they were not printing founder-acharya on the books. And they were not putting founder-acharya, or only they were putting founder-acharya and Swami Prabhupada or A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So therefore, Prabhupada understood. Sometimes his photo was tilted. He was not much respected. So seeing that, Prabhupada became a little upset, and from there he went to Japan. And especially in America and London, the sannyasis started sending away that we could not understand Srila Prabhupada. If we had understood Prabhupada, Prabhupada would not have become angry on us. And we have not understood Prabhupada. Because of that, Prabhupada has become upset and has gone to Japan. But then they started telling, we could not understand that Prabhupada himself is God. They had spending. On one hand, they were trying to usurp his position as founder Acharya. And when they saw that Prabhupada was very angry and has gone, to fix it up, to cover it up, they started preaching Mayavad. And Prabhupada got many telegrams from New Vrindavan. As soon as Prabhupada got telegram that, this sannyasi disciples are preaching this kind of Mayavad, telling that you are God, Prabhupada immediately took the first flight and came to New Vrindavan and sat in the class. In that only refuted. And immediately, at that time there was only one Pranati mantra, Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Then Prabhupada personally, he might be the only guru who has personally written a Pranati mantra for himself. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Therefore, he is mentioning the perfection, therefore, does not terminate in wideness or impersonalism. So Prabhupada was heavy against this thing because he had seen in India in 18th, 19th century and all these yogis, all these babas, when they went to West, they not only contaminated India with this, but whoever Western used to come to India, Eastern people used to come to India, they used to meet these people and they spread all over the world like anything. And therefore Prabhupada wanted to keep ISKCON free from this. And therefore his Pranati mantra is Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarini. And then later on those sannyasis were, the Prabhupada trained them properly and they got reinstated and they went to become very great sannyasis who did tremendous contribution in this ISKCON movement. But what I'm trying to tell is, you can see again and again, whether it's Ishopanishad, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Yoga, wherever there is form mentioned, Prabhupada will come heavily against this form, thinking that this form is not imaginary. This is Shabda Brahma. This is expressed by the Vedic literature. One should accept as it is. Yes, Mataj, please read the last line. The process of Krishna consciousness.
The process of Krishna consciousness is to deliver the form of Krishna directly. The form of Krishna is described with the authoritative Vedic literature, Brahma Samhita. His abode is made of Tirthan stone, and the Lord plays there in the cloud form and is served by many thousands of people. These descriptions are authoritative, and the Krishna conscious person takes them directly, acts on them, teaches them, and practices devotional service as enjoined in the authoritative system.
I think, Mataji, your speaker has some issue when you're reading, no? It is not clearly audible. Or if you're on earphone.
Okay. Now
it
is it?
Yeah, now it is good.
Okay. Yeah.
Can you read once more because you could not hear anything this time.
Okay. The whole Prabhuji, the process of Krishna.
Yes, please.
The process of Krishna consciousness is to deliver the form of Krishna directly. The form of Krishna is described in the authoritative Vedic literature Brahma Samhita. His abode is made of Chintamani stone, and the Lord plays there as a cowherd boy and is served by many thousands of gopis. These descriptions are authoritative, and a Krishna conscious person takes them directly, acts on them, preaches them, and practices devotional service as enjoined in the authoritative scriptures.
So therefore, bhakti is very simple. 10,000 years Karda Muni is standing on the banks of Saraswati, doing this Ashtanga Yoga process, and in that Ashtanga Yoga process, he is linking with in devotional service. This already we have seen in second canto, second chapter, third chapter. Dharnashraya is Virat Rupa, Dharnashraya is Lord Vishnu. It's a very, very long process. But bhakti is so simple. Prabhupada is saying, read Krishna conscious literature, accept Krishna as supreme, chant Hare Krishna, follow Ferrari principle, try to preach it to others, and make others also practice bhakti by worshipping deities, building a temple. That's it. To do this much in 60, 70, 80 years, one can achieve perfection. Oneself can go back to Godhead to serve Krishna there, and one can send so many others along with him, take so many others along with him. So this is a very, very simple process. Therefore, when we read Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhava, we should not stop here just reading here. We all should try to engage in some way or the other. We should have some preaching programs. Either maybe we may not have it directly. Somebody is having it. We should assist them in this process. Why? Because this is a very, very rare commodity. It's like a diamond. And rest others are like broken pieces of glass, like Dhruva Maharaj told. Therefore, I was telling that only Krishna consciousness movement is given this. Otherwise, the whole world is filled with impersonalism, voidism, Mayavad. And therefore, Prabhupada is compassionately writing this. Practice it, follow it, accept it, reach it, and worship. That's it. Jata harshopatam murdna shitau labda manorata girbistva abhyagranat priti swabhavatma kritanjali. Yes. Shiromani Radhike Mataji, please read.
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. When Karda Muni actually realized the Supreme Personality of Godhead in person, he was greatly satisfied because his transcendental desire of fulfilled. He fell on the ground with his head bowed to offer obeisances unto the lotus feet of the Lord. His heart naturally full of love of God. With folded hands, he satisfied the Lord with prayers.
So his desire was fulfilled. He fell on the God, offered obeisances, and his heart naturally full of love of God, with folded hands, satisfied the Lord prayers. Yes. So Prabhupada is writing here, the realization of the personal form of the Lord is the highest perfectional stage of yoga. Especially in Ashtanga Yoga, if somebody can just see the glimpse, that is the highest perfection. But for Bhakti Yogas, just by getting the glimpse, service of the Lord, because that Kapila Muni speaks there. In the same Kapila Muni, Kapil Dev speaking to his mother that Salokya Sarishti Samipya Sarupakitvam Apyuta Diyamanam na Grinante Binayat Sevanam Jana. So devotional principles, devotees, they're not just interested in just seeing the Lord. They are most interested in serving the Lord. And surely seeing the Lord is also service. And Lord cannot be seen without service. But in the Ashtanga Yoga process, when one meditates, when one gets a glimpse of the Lord, that is perfection. From that Ashtanga Yoga, then his bhakti starts. But for bhaktas, they already know the Supreme Lord as a form. They already start with the form of the Lord. Like once we come to the temple, we are seeing Radha Vrindavan Chandra, we are seeing Kunja Bihari, Jagannath Bal Subhadra. That form is as it is. Pratimana tu Shakshat Brajendra Nandana. Chaitanya told that. It is not Pratima, it is not Murti, it is not just deity, it is not just some statue, it is Sakshat Brajendra Nandana. Therefore, Ashtanga Yogas, their perfection ends with the form. Bhakti Yogis, their bhakti starts with the form. We have full faith that Lord has Satchitananda Vigraha. So Prabhupada writes here, continuing, after practicing the Ashtanga Yoga process of sitting posture, regularity principle, when one comes to Samadhi, Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi, that is absorption of the Supreme. In the Samadhi stage, one can see the Supreme Person of Godhead in his partial form as Paramatma. Either they can see as Chaturu, forehead Paramatma, or they can see as Vishnu form. And Samadhi is described in the authoritative scriptures such as Patanjali Sutra to be transcendental pleasure. So what is Samadhi? There is tremendous amount of transcendental pleasure in that perfection, achieving Samadhi, Dharana Dhyana Samadhi. That is what Patanjali Sutras say. So now Prabhupada, what he's trying to do is, he's trying to connect, because the type of meditation Kardam Muni has accepted is Ashtanga Yoga process. And Bhagavatam will not just speak about Ashtanga Yoga process. It will speak about Ashtanga. There are two types. Dharana, like we saw, second chapter, second kind of first chapter, where the Dharana, object of worship, is Virat Rupa. For whom is immature yogi or attached yogi. But for detached yogi, the Dharana Shreya is Lord Vishnu. So that is Ashtanga Yoga process. The culmination of Ashtanga Yoga process, Samadhi, where one feels bliss by seeing the Lord. So Prabhupada is going to do parallel analysis of Patanjali Yoga Sutra, which is a bona fide way of practicing Ashtanga Yoga and Bhakti. That is what he's going to do in the next paragraph. Actually, this is not according to paragraph. This I have made as point so that once you make it as point, then it becomes very easy to understand, read, teach. So therefore, it may be not paragraph by paragraph, the way Prabhupada purport is there. But if you see Prabhupada purport, and if you see this notes, if you want, I can put it also in the group, in the WhatsApp group, so that you can refer to it. So here Prabhupada is making a parallel connection with Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So Prabhupada is speaking about Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Can you read Mataji's one? Patanjali Yoga Sutra description, the yoga system described.
Yes. The yoga system described in the books of Patanjali is authoritative, and the modern so-called yogis who have manufactured their own ways, not consulting the authorities, are simply ludicrous.
Continue. Not just continue the whole purport.
Yes. The Patanjali yoga system is called Ashtanga yoga. Sometimes impersonalists pollute the Patanjali yoga system because they are monists. Patanjali describes that the soul is transcendently pleased when he meets the supersoul and sees him. If the existence of supersoul and the individual is admitted, then impersonalists' theory of monism is nullified. Therefore, some impersonalists and void philosophers twist the Patanjali system in their own way and pollute the whole yoga process.
Yes. So what Prabhupada is trying is, the Ashtanga Yoga process, bona fide way of practicing it is Patanjali Yoga system. Patanjali Yoga system, the soul, when it comes to Samadhi, he becomes blissful because he sees the supreme soul. That means soul is Anu and super soul is Vibhu. If that is the case, then how can one become one with the Lord? So one cannot become one with the Lord spiritually. One can become one in interest, like Ishopanishad says, Yastu Sarvani Bhutani Atman Atmaiva Bhuta Vijanata Tatraka Mohaka Shoka Ekatvam Anupashyata. That Ekatvam is of we are same in quality. Gunatmak Ekatvam. We are Sachitananda, Lord is Sachitananda. And second Ekatvam is He is our source. We are coming from Lord. Like Lord is the source of Tatastha Shakti. Lord is the source of Antaranga Shakti. And Lord is the source of Bahiranga Shakti. Like from fire, heat and light comes. So from Lord, it's all Shaktis are coming. So Shaktiman and we are Shakti. So there is a philosophy called as Shakti, Shaktiman, Ved, Abhed. So Shakti is not different from Shaktiman. From that point of view, we are one. That means he is like father, mother and father are there. The child is born. So they can tell he is my son. Or he can tell that he is my father or mother. In that way, they are one. They are one family. That is second oneness. And third is oneness of interest. Whenever there is some family, everybody will come. Mother is working, father is working, son is working. Then all of them come and have a meeting. Okay, let's save this 5,000 from each of our salary, so that we can at the end of the year we want to go for this yatra, or we want to take up this land, or we want to construct this building. All have same interest. So that oneness, ekatvam anupashyata, Prabhupada mentions as oneness of quality, gunatmaka ekatvam, shakti shaktiman abhed, that is like son is coming from father, they are one. And third is family members, they have same interest, they want to elevate the family. Therefore, this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Therefore, family of this oneness is of interest, that all living entities should purify their heart and go back home back to body to unite with the supreme family in Vaikuntha Loka. Therefore, Prabhupada is telling here that this Patanjali Yoga Sutra, when perfection comes, the soul becomes very blissful. That oneness is of interest. That oneness is of interest. Becomes happy that he has seen his Lord, his Father. And that shows that living entity, if he is becoming blissful by seeing Supreme Lord, shows that he is not supreme. And that nullifies the monistic philosophy. What is monistic philosophy? That all of us are Daridra Narayanas right now in the material condition. If we can practice yoga, we become actual Narayan. And therefore, all the Mayavadis, when they take sannyas, they in Chaitanya Charitamrita also you can see they say Namo Narayan. Therefore, what's saying this Patanjali's Yoga Sutra also defeats monistic philosophy. And what these monistic philosophers do, they try to twist this Patanjali Yoga system of Ashtanga Yoga to suit their purpose and earn money and cheat people. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
According to Patanjali, when one becomes free from all material desires, he attains his real transcendental situation, and realization of that stage is called spiritual power. I had to continue or only highlighted version?
Continue.
In material activities, a person engages in the modern modes of material nature. The aspiration of such people are: one, to be religious; two, to be economical and rich; three, to be able to gratify the senses; and at last, fourth, to be one with the Supreme.
Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. This is basically somebody's any of the modes he is doing this. But when it transcends this and he comes to meet the Supreme, that stage is called as spiritual power according to Ashtanga. Yes, Mataji, please continue.
Yes. According to the monist, when a yogi becomes one with the Supreme and loses his individual existence, he attains the higher stage called Kaivalya. But actually, the stage of realization of the personality of Godhead is Kaivalya. The oneness of understanding that the Supreme Lord is fully spiritual, and that is full spiritual realization, one can understand what he is. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is called Kaivalya, or in the language of Patanjali, realization of spiritual power.
Yeah. So when you understand that, like when Drupada and Drona, when they were classmates, Drupada told to Drona, okay, when I become a king, I'll give you a cow. After passing out, after when he got married, Dronacharya, when he went to Drupada in Mahabharata, what Drupada told? He went to Drupada, Hey, my son is not having milk. My wife has sent me, can you give me a cow? Drupada says one sentence. How can there be friendship among when we are unequal? I am a king and you are a Brahmana, political Brahmana. How they can be equality? So if one has to be equal, they have to come to same status. So similarly, not in a positive sense, in a positive sense, if you use the example of same level, when a soul gives up material desires after following yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dharana, samadhi, when it comes to the spiritual level, Satchitananda level, he can relish, he can see, he can experience a lot. And that experience of seeing that perfection of that Ashtanga process is called as spiritual power. That is Kaival, that oneness is of what? Interest. That is oneness is of Gunatmaka oneness, Satchitananda. And that oneness is of Shakti. Shaktiman is able to see Shaktiman in front of him. He's a Shakti. But because of purifying himself, he's able to see the Shakti. Like that Ekatvam Anupashyata. That Ekatvam and Kaival is same. But the impersonalist or monist says Kaivalya means you go and merge in him. But what Prabhupada says, the parrot goes into the green forest, but it will go and sit on the mango which is green and still continue its own existence. The mango is also green, tree is also green, the parrot is also green. But the parrot doesn't mix into or merge into mango tree. It continues its identity. Similarly, we as Anu, we continue our identity even after coming to the level of Samadhi. Yes, Mataji, please read his proposal.
His proposal is that when one is freed from material desires and fixed in spiritual realization of the self and the super self, that is called
Chit Shakti.
Chitta Shakti. In full spiritual realization, there is a perception of spiritual happiness, and that happiness is described in Bhagavad Gita as the supreme happiness, which is beyond the material senses. Trance is the described to be of two kinds, sampradnyata and asampradnyata, or mental speculation and self-realization.
So the Sampradnyata is called as mental speculation, and Asampradnyata is called as self-realization. And Samadhi is called as Asampradnyata. It is not mental speculation, it is you are really able to see the Lord in front of you. And that is the ultimate goal of spiritual realization. This is according to Patanjali Yoga Sutra. So Prabhupada is concluding. Yes, Mataji, please read this conclusion. According to
Patanjali, when one is fixed in constant realization of the supreme form of the Lord, one has to attain the perfectional stage as attained by Kardam Muni. Unless one attains this stage of perfection beyond the perfection of the preliminaries of the yoga system, there is no ultimate realization. There are 8 perfections in the Ashtanga Yoga system. One who has attained them can become lighter than the lightest and greater than the greatest, and he can achieve whatever he likes. But even achieving such material success in yoga is not the perfection or the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is described here. Kardam Muni saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his eternal form.
You can read this highlighted one.
If through the yoga system one wants to attain the stage of seeing the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face, but is attracted instead to attainment of some material power, then he is detoured from proceeding further. Material enjoyment, as encouraged by bogus yogi, has nothing to do with the transcendental realization of spiritual happiness.
Yes. So Prabhupada concludes here. Real devotees of Bhakti Yoga accept only the material necessities. Basic what we need to keep our body soul together. We need some place to sleep. We need some home. We need some food to eat. And we have to be in this world. We have to work. We need some salary. So what is needed for keeping body and soul together? That much materially we should be absorbed. But apart from that, our whole goal of bhakti should be to maintain body basically, and should refrain completely from exaggerated materialistic sense gratification. And they are prepared to undergo all kinds of tribulations, provided they can make progress in realization of God. That means our goal should be like Kardam Muni, not sense gratification, but pure devotional service, but for our material needs, not beyond that. Basic facilities. Rishi Rivacha. So now you may see Prabhupada is glorifying now. If you see the context text, first 12 shlokas, Prabhupada spoke about the lineage, hierarchy, marriage of Kardama and Devoti. Kardama Muni went to meditate for a material desire to marry Devoti because that is what Brahma ordered him. So now he is going to express, oh Lord, you are to be achieved by people for pure, but I have come to you for asking something material. So that is what the sequence from 13 to 20. But he is very humble. Now he is getting darshan of the Lord. Brahma has ordered him to increase progeny, and he is capable. He has become pure, but he has a desire. What was the glory of Karda Muni is he has not gone to some demigod. He has gone to Supreme Lord, and therefore is going to be purified. And Lord Kapila is going to appear in his lineage. And then Kardamuni is going to, at the 24th chapter, is going to leave the home and is going to take Vanaprastha and Sannyas, and is going back to Godhead. And as a result, Kapil Siksha is coming in front of us. So let's see what Rishi is going to pray. Kardamuni is going to pray in next 7 verses. Rishi Ruvacha Justam Bhatyadika Patadya Akhila Sattvarishe Samsidhyam Darshanam Na Yad Darshanam Janmabi Idya Shadbir Asashate yogino ruddha yogaha. Yes, Jagannath Prabhu. Jagannath Prabhu, please read.
Yes, Prabhuji. The great sage Kardamuni said, O Supreme Worshipful Lord, my power of sight is now fulfilled. Having attained the greatest perfection of the sight of you, who are the reservoir of all existence, through many successive births of deep meditation, advanced yogis aspire to see your transcendental form.
Yes. So Chakravarti Bal mentions that this perfection is respected by all. Jushtum means this perfection is respected by all. Bhata means he is astonished, he is surprised. And he's saying it is the highest mercy of the Lord and my highest good fortune to see the Lord so quickly. He was very astonished. 10,000 years meditating. He has 1 lakh years lifespan, or 10% of it. He's surprised by Lord coming in front of him. And you are the form for the most fallen beings, Rashi. And I have not done suitable sadhana, worshipable Lord. Most excellent yogis who have perfected yoga by many births pray to see you. That means yogis struggle to see you, but I'm so fortunate you appeared in front of me so quickly. Yes, Prabhu, please read the purport.
Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described here as the reservoir of all goodness and all pleasure. Unless one is situated in the mode of goodness, there is no real pleasure. When therefore one's
Continue.
continue, when therefore one's body, mind, and activities are situated in the service of the Lord, one is on the highest perfectional stage of goodness. Kardam Muni says, your lordship is the reservoir of all that can be understood by the nomenclature of goodness. And by experiencing you face to face, eye to eye, the perfection of sight has now been attained.
So one thing is, if you want to see the Lord, we have to come to pure goodness because Lord is in Vasudeva Sattva. And that is only possible when our senses become purified. The practice of Bhakti. Sarvopadi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam Rishikesha Rishikena Sevanam Bhaktir Uchyate Aruttamam. So therefore Prabhupada comes to that. These statements are next. It is Bhakti. Yes, Prabhupada, please read.
These statements are the pure devotional situation for devotees. The perfection of the senses is to engage in the service of the Lord.
Yes, so when it says Tat Paratvena Nirvanam, Rishikena Rishikesha Sevanam. When we do engage our senses, Karmendriya, Gyanendriya, in pure devotion service, in service of the Lord, then we come to goodness. And in that goodness, we can access spiritual truths, we can access spiritual form. And that's what Kardam Muni is undergoing. He is speaking about goodness. That is bhakti. That is not material goodness. That is the pure goodness, which is arising from pure devotional service. Yes, and Prabhupada is going to speak about how we can engage our eyes in Krishna service, sense eyes in seeing the beauty of the Lord, ear in hearing the glories of the Lord, the tongue in tasting, eating the prasad of the Lord. Tongue is perfected, eyes is perfected by taking darshan of the Lord, ear in perfected by hearing the glories of the Lord. He is achieving. When all these senses engage us in relations with the person of Godhead, one's perfection is technically called Bhakti Yoga, or which Ashtanga Yoga is called as Samadhi, which entails detaching the senses from the material indulgence and attaching them to the service of the Lord. Yes. Basically, we become free from all designated life. Tat paratvena nirmalam, Rishikesha Rishikena Sivanam, Sarva Upadi Vinirmuktam. That is what Prabhupada is describing in this last paragraph. Please read, Pooji, this whole paragraph.
When one is freed from all designated conditional life and fully engages in the service of the Lord, one's service is called Bhakti Yoga.
Yeah, this is the definition of that slogan, Nodi. Sarvapadi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam. That is the definition. Yes, please read.
Kardamuni admits that seeing the Lord personally in Bhakti Yoga is perfection of sight. The exalted perfection of seeing the Lord is not exaggerated by Kardamuni. He gives evidence that those who are actually elevated in yoga aspire in life after life to see this form of the personality of Godhead. He was not a fictitious yogi. Those who are actually on the advanced path aspire only to see the eternal form of the Lord.
Yes. So basically, he did bhakti. That is the conclusion of this previous shloka. Yamaya te hatame dasastvat padarvindam bhavasindhupotam upasate kamalavayatesham rashisha kamam nirayepi yesu. So now he's expressing, he's expressing, although you can be realized only by those who are in pure goodness, but have taken shelter of your lotus feet for and those who take shelter of your lotus feet, they go back to Godhead. But some people approach you for material desires, and those who want material desires, that is also there. Even the people who are rotting in hell, they also get material sense enjoyment. But those who approach you for material sense enjoyment, they are little less intelligent. And that is the word here coming in the shloka. Ye maya te hatameta sastvat. Attracted by this material enjoyment, people who have less intelligent, deluding energy. Padarvindam bhavasindapotam. Your lotus feet which are like lotus feet. Padarvindam bhavasindapotam. Padarvindam lotus feet. Bhavasindapotam. Bhavasinda matlab ocean. Potam means boat. Your lotus feet are like boat, which can make up a person cross from material to spiritual world. But there are some fools like me who are attracted to material enjoyment, who come to you for fulfilling a material benediction. Upasate kama lavaya tesham. It's a material desire. Rashisha kamam nirayepi yesu. And the sense gratification that is even also achievable by those people who are suffering in hell. Even the materialistic who don't follow bhakti, they enjoy and they go back to hell. The sense gratification even they get. But some people like me, they come for you to lotus feet for material desires. Now this is a genuine humility of Kardama Muni. Because sense gratification, even those who do sense gratification, they go to hell. They don't have to come to Lord Vishnu for that, but have come to you because I have no other shelter than you. So this is like same words. Akama, moksha kamava, akami, sarva kami, moksha kamava, tivrena bhakti yogena yate purusham param. 2.3.10. That shloka speaks. Kama, sarva kamava, moksha kamava, udharadi, tivrena bhakti yogena yate purusham param. So for he had a desire. He had kama, sarva kama, he wanted to have a wife, but he has gone to Vishnu. That is tivrena bhakti yoga, and his bhakti was tivra bhakti. Also, he has gone to Vishnu for a material desire for getting a wife, but that is ordered by his Brahma to increase progeny. And what will happen? Udaradi, Lord Vishnu will purify him, and he will become purified. And Lord Supreme Lord Kapila is going to come in his family lineage. He is going to speak about devotional Sankhya, theistic Sankhya philosophy. Yes, who's going to read now next? Who's there? Yashika Mataji, you're walking or you're reading? You can read. You're not.
Prabhuji, okay, I can read from here. Yes. Your lotus feet are the true vessel to take one across the ocean of mundane nescience. Only persons deprived of their intelligence by the spell of the deluding energy will worship those feet with a view to attain the trivial and momentary pleasures of the senses, which even persons rotting in hell can attain. However, O my Lord, you are so kind that you bestow mercy even upon them.
Okay. So Chakravarti Pal has a different translation here. Oh Lord, you bestow material benedictions on persons bewildered by your Maya, who worship your lotus feet. When persons are having sarva kama, they worship your lotus feet, you will give them material benedictions. But your feet are actually meant for what? Going back to Godhead. For a particular material pleasure will lead them to hell. Basically, material enjoyment will not send them to. For those who want to go to back to God in this life itself, material enjoyment will be as obstacle for them. But because here he wants to engage in family life, therefore he has gone to Lord to get a wife so that he can fulfill the order of his Guru and Father Brahma. So let's see what Chakravarti Pal has to say in the commentary. Then we'll go to Prabhupada's commentary. O people worship you, the ocean of mercy, for fulfilling material desire. This is their foolishness. And what is comparing to? Those who have lost intelligence, Hata Medasa, because of your Maya. Only those and no others worship you to attain just a particle of pleasure. Basically, who are bewildered by Maya, they have this and they come to you. Vishnu is there, and Vishnu Maya is there. Somebody is going to Vishnu for material desires, they are built up by their Maya. But you give Rashi, them those pleasures profusely, though you are reluctant. It's not that Lord Vishnu wants Lord, like father. Father doesn't want to give some material enjoyment to their sons. They want what is Shreyas for them, not prayers for them. But reluctantly, Lord gives because He knows if I don't give, then they'll go away. Better than that, they're coming to me. If you did not do so, then not knowing the happiness of bhakti would quickly give up devotion to you because they're not very much advanced, therefore they'll give up the devotion. So they want some benefit, material benefit, so that they can go on bhakti. You do so hoping that by not giving up bhakti for some time, they will lose those desires. So they'll fulfill the desire and they'll continue bhakti and as they continue doing bhakti, the desires will go away. Like Dhruv Maharaj case, he went for kingdom greater than Brahma. But as soon as he saw Vishnu's same darshan, like Kardamon is getting darshan, immediately he told, my dear Lord, I want nothing. But Dhruv Maharaj started his Sankalpa had done that, I wanted a kingdom greater. Therefore, Lord Vishnu gave him. But Dhruv Maharaj, Chakravarti mentions, when Dhruv Maharaj got the darshan, when Lord Vishnu touched the conch to Dhruv Maharaj, all his material desires were vanquished. He was no more a Karma Mishra Bhakta. Also, he went with the Karma Mishra, but he had become completely purified. What shows that he doesn't want to go back and become the king of the whole kingdom. But Lord ordered him to do that. All the commentaries very, very elaborately speak. So you do so hoping that they'll not give bhakti and they'll lose a desire. Fulfilling those desires is not your final intention. Lord, do you think that Lord bhakti material desire को fulfill करने के लिए भगवान के पास कोई जाता है? भगवान अपनी भौतिक इच्छाओं को पूर्ण करने का ठिकाने लेके रखे. इन भगवान क्या करते हैं? भौतिक इच्छाओं को पूर्ण करके अपने हृदय को शुद्ध करते हैं. Fulfilling those desires is not a final intention. Since those desires for sons, wife, family and wealth will lead them to hellish birth. So how can भगवान भौतिक इच्छा पूर्ण नहीं करते? भगवान उनको भक्ति में आगे अग्रसर बनाने के लिए उनका भौतिक इच्छा को पूर्ण करते हैं. However, since there is a rule that karmas lead to heaven and hell, who will go to heaven and hell? जो कर्म काम करता है, जो भोग इंद्रिय भोग करते हैं, वो नरक और स्वर्ग जाते हैं. लेकिन जो आपके भक्त बनते हैं और आपसे भौतिक इच्छा का कामना करते हैं, they are beyond karmas that do not lead to bondage. Ishopnishad mantra 2, which says that Ishavashamidam sarvam purvanyeveha karmani jijivisheshatam samaha. There it says they can stay for many, many years. They will not be bound by karma. Purvanyeveha karmani jijivisheshatam samaha. And there is no alternative for them apart from this. They will not be born in this life, and after fulfilling that, desire will become pure devotion and will go back. And that is what is going to happen with Kardamuni. Thus, in reality, the meaning of the words heaven and hell mentioned in this shloka is just, in this case, is not actually real, because of similar results is stated here. Because material enjoyment करने से नरक में कोई जाता है, वही material enjoyment, वही भौतिक इंद्रिय तृप्ति को जब भक्त जाते भगवान के पास, वो नरक नहीं जाते, भगवान को शुद्ध करके भगवत धाम लेके जाते. This is the meaning of what Chakravarti is mentioning here. Yes, Prabhupada mentions here. भगवत गीता के अनुसार दो प्रकार के भक्त हैं. एक जो शुद्ध भक्ति से जाते हैं और जिनके पास कुछ भौतिक इच्छाएं नहीं है, और दूसरे जिनके पास भौतिक इच्छा है. That is what is saying here. And this is condemned by Kardam Muni. He says that such material pleasures are available for cats and dogs in hellish condition. भौतिक इच्छा जिनके पास रहते हैं, they want children, family, wife, and all these things. So that is fulfilled in any form of life, not only human form of life. The Lord is so kind that if so-called yogis are satisfied by hellish pleasures, He can give them best facilities to attain all the material pleasures they desire, but they cannot attain the perfection attained by Kardam Muni. And here Prabhupada is writing here, Hatha Medasa. Such persons are described here as Hatha Medasa, which means those whose brains are spoiled. They aspire for material enjoyment with perfection of yoga or meditation. Yoga is not meant for material desires. It is meant only for achieving Krishna, seeing Krishna. Patanjali Yoga Sutra says spiritual power, or to become Chit Shakti ke saath sampark mein aana. And Prabhupada is quoting in Bhagavad Gita also, the Lord states that intelligence of those who worship the demigods has been spoiled. Similarly, Here too it is stated by Kardam Muni that one who aspires after material enjoyment by practice of yoga has spoiled his brain substance and is full number one. Actually, the intelligent practitioner of yoga should aspire for nothing else but to cross over the ocean of nescience by worshipping the personality of Godhead Bhagavan and see the lotus feet of the Lord. But Lord is so kind, however, that even today persons whose brain substance is spoiled are given the benediction to become cats and dogs or hawks and enjoy material happiness from sex life and sense gratification. The Lord confirms his benediction in Bhagavad Gita. Whatever a person aspires to receive from me, I offer him as he desires. Basically, what this shloka is saying is, Bhakti or Ashtanga or Gyan is not meant for fulfilling material desire. But even if one goes, especially in Bhakti, Lord purifies him by giving that. And by giving that, so that he can continue Bhakti, because he's going to God, he will not go to heaven and hell. He is going to Lord Vishnu or Krishna. Akama sarva kama moksha kama udaravi tivrena bhakti yogejan yachate purusham param. He is going to be purified. But this prayer is offered, previous 14 prayers being offered by Kardam Muni. He is expressing, only those who are in pure sattva guna can see you, but I have come to you for material desire. That is expressing here. Tata sachaham parivodakama samanashilam grahameda upe ivana mulamasesha mulam durashaya kama dugangri pasya. His link. Tata sa chaham parivadu kamaha. What I want is, I want desiring to marry a girl of like disposition. Samana Shilam Grahameda Denum is comparing wife to be Denu. Chakrutaban mentions, why is comparing wife to Denu? Telling that I'm like a bull. A bull needs a, again, when this Acharya's commentary, when Chakrutaban mentions, he's little Rasika Acharya. And he says, if a cow is there, then I'm like a bull, I need a cow. Upayevan Moolam Asesha Moolam. To fulfill my desires, Durashaya Kama Dugangripasya. To fulfill my lustful desires, I too have short shelter of your lotus feet, which are the source of everything for you. Because you are like Dugangri Pasya. You are like a desired tree. Yes, Jagannath is going through, please read. Okay, you are outside. Sachin Bro, you can read.
Therefore, desiring to marry a girl of like disposition who may prove to be veritable cow of plenty in my married life, to satisfy my lustful desire, I too have sought the shelter of your lotus feet, which are source of everything, for you are like a desire tree.
So whenever the Bhagavatam, these things come like lustful desire or something like that, it's not actually shown. In our case, in Kali Yuga in 2024, when we say about lusty desire, it is different than Bhagavatam. Here, lustful desire for them is, Kardam Muni is a person who is wearing just a loincloth and is meditating on the bank of Saraswati. And that too, you want to get married because Brahma has told him to get married. And why? Because Kapila is going to come in front of him. But that because he has gone to Vishnu and that he has to ask him a wife, he is feeling that as a lustful desire. That kind of level they are having. So here Chakravarti is mentioning, though I criticize the devotees as material desire, I have an evil mind, since I have approached you, you are a desire tree feet, with the feet which are the root cause for the fulfilling all desire, with the material intention to attain a wife who can fulfill all desires in the household life and who is suitable to my nature. So Chakravarti is mentioning here, though I criticize those with material desires, I am the chief person with material desire. I desire to marry a wife who supplies artha, dharma, and kama in household life. Graha meta dhenam. By calling his wife a cow, he implies that he is a bull, since he has no intelligence. That is a humility. Among those with material desires, I am evil, durashaya, have no intelligence because of my bad intentions. I approach the feet, the source of all object, ashesha mola, of you, who are a desired tree, simply to get married. Sarva Swarga Apavarga Pumsam Rishayam Bhuvi Sampadam Sarvasvam Api Siddhinam Gulam Tat Charanacharam. Chakravarti mentioning again, Like how Lord is the desire tree, fulfills our desires. Devotional service to his lotus feet is the root cause of all perfections a person can find in heaven, in liberation, in the subterranean regions, and on earth. So this is the context of this verse, that he has got darshan of Lord Vishnu. He has all chance for getting liberated. He can ask for going back to Godhead, but he's asking for a wife. Therefore, he's expressing his humility, like I want a Dhenum, I'm like a bull, something like that. I want a girl of same disposition. Prabhupada writes that same thing. In spite of his condemning persons who approach the Lord for material advantages, Kardan Muni expresses material inability and desire before the Lord by saying, although I know that nothing material should be asked from you, I nevertheless desire to marry a girl of like disposition. Prabhupada says this word like disposition is very significant. Formerly, boys and girls of similar dispositions were married. The similar natures of boys and girls were united in order to make them happy. And 25 years before, the mother's parents, girls' mother and father, the boy's mother and father, Vara, Vadu, they both used to see horoscope, make astrological calculations, see different ganas, which Manushya Gana, Deva Gana, Sura Gana, and after having compatibility in many of the qualities, gunas, then they used to go ahead with the marriage. But now a marriage takes place without such consultation, and therefore soon the marriage ends in divorce or separation. And but compared to the Vedic marriages, they continue whole life, and it is peaceful. But nowadays, with every small instigation, people want to get separated. So Kardan Muni wanted a wife of like disposition because a wife is necessary to assist in spiritual and material advancement. Especially in Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, which the Yuga Dharma is different. In Satyuga, it is the meditation. In Treta Yuga, it is yajna. In Dwapar Yuga, it is temple worship. There is a better half. Wife is called as Ardhangini. She is required for all the yajnas. Therefore, she assists in spiritual and material advancement. It is said that a wife wields the fulfillment of all desires in dharma, artha, kama, moksha. If one has a nice wife, he should be considered a most fortunate man. In astrology, man is considered to be fortunate, has great wealth, very good sons, or very good wife. Prabhu, can you read this of these three? Sachin Prabhu.
In astrology, of these three, one who has a very good wife is considered the most fortunate. Before marrying, one should select a wife of like disposition and not be enamored by so-called beauty or other attractive features for sense gratification. In the Bhagavatam, 12th, 5th canto, it is said that in the Kali Yuga, marriage will be based on the consideration of sex life. As soon as there is deficiency in sex life, the question of divorce will arise. Kardam Muni would have asked his benediction from Uma, for it is recommended in the scriptures that if anyone wants a good wife, he should worship Uma. But he preferred to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead because it is recommended in the Bhagavatam that everyone, whether he is full of desires, has no desire, or desires liberation, should worship the Supreme Lord. Of these three classes of men, one tries to be happy by fulfillment of material desires, another wants to be happy by becoming one with the Supreme, and another, the perfect man, is a devotee. He does not want anything in return from the personality of Godhead. He only wants to render transcendental loving service. In any case, everyone should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for he will fulfill everyone's desire. The advantage of worshipping the Supreme Person is that even if one has desire for material enjoyment, if he worships Krishna, he will gradually become a pure devotee and have no more material hankering.
Thank you for reading. So after telling that he wants Dhenu, also as a material desire. Akama, this is shloka called as Akama Sarakama Mokshakama Udara Vityurena Bhakti Yogena Yate Purusham Paramukam, pure devotee. The next is going to tell Prajapateste Vacha Sadistantya Loka Kilayam Kamohatu Anubhakta Aham Chalokanugato Vahami Balim Cha Shukla Nimishaya Tubhyam. So he's going to glorify Lord as you are like Shukla, you are like the personality, you are the leader, you are the leader Ityo Nityanam, Chetana Chetananam, Eko Bahunam Yuvidati Kama. You are the leader who fulfill all the results, all the desires of the living entities. Prajapatesti Vachasabdisha Tamutya. That is meaning, yeah. Chiran going through, can you read this one? Is glorifying
Yes,
Lord
Prabhu.
as also come with material desire, but you are like my father, you are like my leader, who performs, fulfills the desire of the spiritual practitioners.
Yes, Prabhu. Oh my Lord, you are the master and leader of all living entities. Under your direction, all conditioned souls, as if bound by a rope, are constantly engaged in satisfying their desires. Following them, O embodiment of religion, I also bear obligations for you. You are who are eternal time.
So Chakravarti was mentioning, oh Lord, his translation is like this. Those controlled by material desires are bound by the ropes of instructions of Brahma, your servant, to create progeny. That means he's indirectly telling, I'm asking this thing because I am being bound by Brahma's instruction to create progeny. Oh Vishnu, following such people, I make an offering to you in the form of time. So now, in the previous verse, it was mentioned that he wanted enjoyment, he wanted a wife. They know he's comparing himself to a bull. So now, Vishnu may ask him. This is a Chakravarti Bas commentary, huh? What I'm showing you now. Lord Vishnu may ask him, if that is what you want, use your intelligence. Why do not worship without desires? Okay, you spoke that those who are pure goodness, they come to meet me, see me, and those who fulfill material desires, those the destination of them is like going to hellish planet, something like that. So use your intelligence. Why do not worship without desires? That is what Lord Vishnu is telling. Persons such as Marichi are bound by the ropes of instruction of Brahma, Prajapati. So why am not worshiping with material desire? Because Marichi and me, they're all sons of Brahma. And your servant to create progeny, he has instructed us to create progeny. And Brahma speaks only according to your instruction, because your instruction is to, the purpose of the material creation is to increase the progeny so that the rebellious living entities, they can take up bhakti, they can purify their consciousness and they go back to God. There's a compassionate nature behind creation. So that task has been given to Brahma. So that is basically, this is a missionary task Brahma has taken. Therefore, he wants to create a progeny, and I am his servant. Sa yajna praja srishtva purvacho prajapati anena prashivishyadyavam esha yog stva ishta kamaduk. Brahma having created the population along with sacrifices long ago. May you prosper by the sacrifice, may it fulfill all your material desires. This is Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, 10th verse. So Brahma has no fault. He only echoes your words. So Brahma has instructed me to produce progeny. And therefore Brahma is under you. And therefore please don't think that I have a material desire. I am fulfilling the words of Brahma. Therefore I'm asking this desire to you. Let the materialistic people be bound up. Because it is not my, ऐसा नहीं कि मैं खुद से पूछ रहा हूँ आपको ये इच्छा. It is not my, I have not come to you on my own. Like in all of our cases, when we come to bhakti, we are guided by some spiritual master, some siksha guru, some diksha gurus. And sometimes we want to do something without their sanction. Those things which you do without their sanction, you have to accept karma for that. But if we can do some things under the supervision of siksha guru, diksha guru, for that we don't get bound. That is what he's saying. So Brahma is my siksha guru, Brahma is my father. He has ordered me to marry a girl, and that is your mission. And Brahma is your servant, and I have become his servant. And therefore, his word is echoing only your words. What Brahma is instructing is, you are instructed him to do that. And Brahma has instructed me to do this. So therefore, when I'm coming to you, I am bound by that instruction, and you are our leader, and you will protect us from not going to, you will protect us from going to hell. We will not go to hell. On the other hand, you will purify us and you will send us back home, back to Godhead. Why don't you overcome the desire like the Kumaras? So you may ask, if Brahma has instructed you, when Brahma had instructed Kumaras also, but Kumaras told clear no for a higher cause. Prabhupada direction the purport of the 4 Kumaras rejecting Brahma's order of producing progeny. This one thing children can always reject the parents. For bhakti they want to marry, then they can reject because higher principle. So why don't you overcome those desires like Kumaras? Now Kardamuni is telling. My intelligence follows the common people. I'm not like the full Kumaras. I'm like common person, and I cannot be like Narada and others. This is again humility. Like bull, I am bound by a rope and carry an offering to you. Because Brahma has ordered to me, it's my heart. Like you will see in bhakti, some people would like to please do what their superiors tell when they tell something verbally. And some people would like to understand which is most important and would try to do much more important than that. Like here in this case, Brahma is telling both Narad Muni and Kumaras to marry. But Narad Muni and Kumaras understood this is bondage. Therefore, they thought the purpose of the goal of material creation is to become liberated. So why we should get bound? So they went for, they did not enter the married life. They went to do pure devotional service, so entering Pravritti Marg. Same thing here. Kardam Muni is being told by Brahma, but he is feeling, how can I disobey my father? And he therefore saying, I'm like a bull, I'm bound by rope and carrying an offering to you. I'm bound by rope of my instruction of Brahma. I follow your orders concerning material life. This means I desire a wife. The word cha indicates I also will perform bhakti in order to attain you, O Vishnu, Shukla. I make an offering to you. Please, you, the form of time. Therefore, what Kardam Muni is telling is, although Kumaras and Narada did not get married, but in my case, I want to follow the instruction of my father, and along with accepting a wife, I want to practice bhakti and purify myself and come back to you. And Prabhupada mentions the purport, the Tom Parishad. Can you read the purport, Prabhuji?
Yes, bro. In Katha Upanishad, it is stated that the Supreme Lord is the leader of all living entities. He is their sustainer and the awarder of all their necessities and desires.
Yeah, this
No
is
living-
Prabhupada basically mentioning the first line of this verse. See the first line of this verse? 4 lines. Prajapatestach vachashadisha tantya lokakilayam kamahato nubadhya. So you are like the leader. That is first line. Prabhupada is trying to mention the purport. Yes, please read.
Therefore, the Vedic instruction is that one should enjoy life under the direction of the Supreme Leader, the personality of Godhead. Vedic literatures like Ishobnishad direct that since everything belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one should not encroach upon another's property, but should enjoy one's individual allotment. The best program for every living entity is to take direction from the Supreme Lord and enjoy material or spiritual life. The question may be raised, since Kardam Muni was advanced in spiritual life, why then did he not ask the Lord for liberation? Why did he want to enjoy supreme material life in spite of his personally seeing and experiencing the Supreme Lord? The answer is that not everyone is competent to be liberated from material bondage. It is everyone's duty, therefore, to enjoy according to his present position, but under the direction of the Lord or the Vedas. The Vedas are considered to be the direct words of the Lord. Lord gives us the opportunity to enjoy material life as we want, and at the same time, He gives direction for the modes and processes of abiding by the Vedas so that gradually one may be elevated to liberation from material bondage. The conditioned souls who have come to the material world to fulfill their desires to Lord, it over material nature are bound by the law of nature. The best course is to abide by the Vedic rules that will help one to be gradually elevated to liberation. Kardam Muni
What Prabhupada
addresses
is telling here is, he is telling another thing which from Chakravarti commentary, that Kardam Muni, why is not marrying? Because there are two people, those like Narada Muni Kumaras, who have no material desires. They likely want to become as Nivrittas. And there are some people, vast majority few people, especially on ISKCON movement also, 99.9% are Grahastas. Very 1% might be sannyasis. So even those who are attached, Lord gives direction to them also. Here Kardam Muni is coming in a category of he is attached, and he just because he is attached doesn't mean that he cannot perform pure devotion. In fact, he is getting darshan from Lord Vishnu. but he has his psychophysical nature. His psychophysical nature is what? He wants to have a family life. He wants to experience that. And with that experience, while experiencing that, it's not that he's giving up bhakti. To see his bhakti, he has got married, will do tapasya. After so many years of marriage, also, the devotee is becoming worn out. Her whole hair has become matted, and she is into austerity. And Radha Muni is doing his austerity. After some time, when he's pleased with the austerity of devotee, that time Karna Muni fulfills the devotee's desire and his desire. This is Vedic way of enjoyment. The modern way of enjoyment is what? Even if you have some desire, we just see and get married, and no austerities, no spiritual practices, no tapasya, and then enjoy. So that kind of enjoyment will not liberate us. So Vedic way is, even if one enjoyment is there, go through the Vedic mark, go to the Supreme Lord, follow the process. Processes of even the so-called grahastha is also in a nivritti margin, if in the devotional service they are there, because the purpose of their engaging in marriage is not to enjoy, but purpose of engaging marriage is to purify their heart and go back home, back to Godhead. So this is what Prabhupada is very clearly explaining here. And Prabhupada in next paragraph says that Supreme Lord is like a leader, Shukla, therefore is mentioned as leader of religion, and one should follow Dharmo to Sakshat Bhagavad Pranita. One should not artificially create a religion. No one can manufacture concoct religion. For Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that religion means to surrender unto Him. Therefore, one should follow the Vedic regulations and surrender to Supreme Lord, even if he has desire, even if he has no desire. If he has desire, no problem, all good. Just follow the Vedic bhakti process. Accept what you are. Get a wife, get married, experiencing the material enjoyment, following the bhakti process. You also get purified and go back to God. If somebody is not attached to material desire, one should not become proud. Become like a Narada Muni or Chatush Kumaras, practice bhakti, and you go back to God. So for both personalities, it's mentioned, especially this chapter is speaking for vast majority people who are in Varnashram process of Grihasthashram. Even if they have some desires, they can have married life, follow rules and regulations of married life, live peacefully for elevation to the highest status of spiritual realization. We'll just complete 20 and then we'll end today. Lokamsha lokanugatam pashumscha hitva shitaste chiranata patram prasha parasparam tvada gunavada situ yusha nirya pitadeha dharma. This is also very wonderful verse. Yes, Sashi Sundari Mataji, please read.
However, persons who have given up stereotyped worldly affairs and the beastly followers of these affairs, and who have taken shelter of the umbrella of your lotus feet by drinking the intoxicating nectar of your qualities and activities in discussions with one another, can be freed from the primary necessities of the material body.
So in this, so many verses, what Kardamuni is telling is, my psychophysical nature is I need a family life. But there are also many others like Stush Kumaras and Narada Muni. Just by hearing about your glories, they don't need anything. They can just free from the primary necessities of material body. So Chakravarti Path says something here. The disregarding the materialists and their followers who are like animals. Persons who take shelter of the umbrella of your lotus feet become free of bodily afflictions by mutually discussing topics concerning your qualities, which are sweet and intoxicating. So what kind of commentary Chakravarti was giving here is a Rasikacharya. The fathers, their sons and brothers who follow their instructions gain fame and happiness from following material dharma. Why do you criticize their material desire? This is what Lord is asking. The father, their son, brother who follow their instruction, like Brahma is ordered to Champarichi and to Kardamuni, and you create progeny and fulfill. So Lord is asking, why do you criticize their material desires? So he is asking because his offering, his prayer is that they are like lokam sulokadam pashumcha. And this is a question Lord is asking to Kardamuni. What fame and happiness do the detached devotees have given sorrow? Now, in case of Narada Muni and Kumaras, or in case of you see in this present world, somebody becomes a brahmachari. His mother is upset, his father is upset, his relatives are upset. It's only detached. The detached. So what fame and happiness do the detached devotees have given, giving sorrow to them? What they have given? They only given sorrow to their fathers, for which you praise them. This is a question. Lord, you may ask to Kardam Muni. Or this question, anybody who's reading Bhagavatam may ask to Kardam Muni. So in this verse and the next verse, this verse 19-20 verses, 2 verses respond. Because the materialists are like animals, there is no fault in rejecting them. Because anyway, they are not going to do bhakti. It's not that wash my people. Basically, why they are called as animals? Because animals have the need, eat, sleep, mate, and defend. And some personalities will be there who are like, they don't want to get into all those things. Therefore, this is what Chakravarti is mentioning in that materialists are like animals. There is no fault in rejecting them. He is substantiating. Kardam Muni is answering like this. See, they are like anyway animals. Animals को रेट करो ना करो भक्ति के लिए क्या फायदा पड़ने वाला है. Our lokam can refer to those well versed in logic or mimamsa philosophy. They are not like animals, but they are so-called spiritualists, are so-called scholarly people, are so-called ritualistic, but their goal is not bhakti. Not well versed in scripture, who follow their instruction with faith. Both are like animals, who follow Vedas not for pure bhakti, or who don't follow Vedas for after sense gratification. Both are like animals. But what Bhakta is concerned with? Bhakta is concerned with only with the lotus feet, which is like umbrella. Others take shelter of umbrella at your lotus feet. Those who are like animals do not take shelter, must burn up in the heat of material existence. And those who take shelter have unlimited happiness. By drinking topics concerning your qualities, which are nectar, since they are sweet and destroy death, and which are wine, because they make them forget material existence. They destroy the qualities of material body consisting of infancy, boyhood, other ages, as well as hunger, thirst, and other cravings. So basically, this shloka is speaking about materialist who engage themselves like animals. Lokam lokagatam pashumscha. Persons who have given up stereotyped worldly affairs. Like what is worldly affairs? Those busy in eating, sleeping, waiting, and defense like animals. And have taken up the shelter of umbrella. So when somebody gives up that kind of process and who's taking shelter of the bhakti, what harm is to them? They're not causing any harm. They're glorious because by taking up shelter of the lotus feet, one can become free from the primary necessities of the material body. They don't have to be dependent on anyone. Yes. So Prabhupada is mentioning here, after describing the necessity of married life, Kardam Muni asserts that marriage and other social affairs are stereotyped religious regulations for persons who are addicted to material sense enjoyment. The principles of animal life, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending are actual necessities of the body. But those who engage in transcendental Krishna consciousness, giving up the stereotyped activities of the material world, are freed from social conventions. That means those who just are completely dependent on the Lord and they can give them up. They are not respected to any social conventions like Narada or Kumaras. Conditioned souls are under the spell of material energy or time, past, present, and future. But as soon as one engages in Krishna consciousness, he transcends the limits of past, present, and becomes situated in the eternal activities of soul. One has to act in terms of Vedic injunctions in order to enjoy material life. But those who have taken to the devotional service of the Lord are not afraid of the regulations of this material world. Such devotees do not care for the conventions of material activities. They boldly take to the shelter, which is like an umbrella against the sun of repeated birth and death. This conditioned life in material existence is called samsara. One may perform good work and take his birth in a very nice material condition, but the process under which birth and death takes place is like a terrified fire. Srila Vishnu Chakra Thakur in Samsara Deva prayer says, Pranaya Karune Gana Ganatvam. This material world is like fire. Without anybody's wanting, there is misunderstanding, there is some kind of fire coming inside, friction. Like in forest, there are two trees, they rub each other and produce friction, and there is fire. Similarly, without wanting, there is argument, misunderstanding, and so many unwanted things. But what is the hope? Only when the rain of mercy can come and extinguish that forest fire of material existence. Similarly, the cloud is compared to the spiritual master, and he brings the grace of mercy, ocean of mercy of Supreme Lorded. Then that Krishna consciousness, the rains of Krishna consciousness, when they fall, this fire can be extinguished. This is also explained here. In order to find freedom from the stereotyped conditioned life of material existence, one has to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, not in the manner in which the impersonalists indulge, but in devotional service, chanting and hearing. Therefore, this is comment is taken from Chakravarti Pad. Initially, Prabhupada told those who want eating, sleeping, mating, defending, I want married life. And that is a beastly condition. Second thing, those who follow Vedas, but their goal is not bhakti, impersonalist. They are also like beastly. Mataji, can you continue from here? Only.
Only. Only then can one be freed from the actions and reactions of material existence. It is recommended here that one should give up the conditional life of this material world and the association of so called civilized human beings who are simply following in a polished way the same stereotyped principles of eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. Chanting and hearing of the glories of the Lord is described here as Twadguna Vada Sidhu. Only by drinking the nectar of chanting and hearing the pastimes of the Lord can one forget the intoxication of material existence.
One more thing we can learn from this, even if one takes up to married life, if you are practicing bhakti, but that doesn't mean that you should also follow all the rules and regulations or the responsibilities, or not responsibilities, customs, like the way people who are married they enjoy. They don't have to do that. He may accept the married life for bhakti. So that will help him not to get entangled. At the same time, that will also help give him benefit of purifying himself and going back home, back to God. Okay, we'll stop here with this. From next shloka number 2019, we'll continue next. Any questions you would have? No questions, so then we'll end here. So again, join tomorrow at 2:30. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.